Hey everyone, this is Tamara Kellum, and you are watching the very first episode of my web series. I had the privilege and honor of interviewing the fabulous Kiyomi Tarver. There is no better way that I could have started this out. She is amazing, she's multi-talented, she's beautiful, and here's her story about love, life, and womanhood.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I don't take this lightly at all. You're a beautiful spirit, so I'm just grateful to be able to sit down with you. So thank you. And I think that's womanhood. Being able to be grateful for another woman and know that you're a reflection of her. You know what I mean? Like to look at her like, oh, she's me. We have so much in common. I think putting ourselves in each other's heels is a part of womanhood.
Yeah. And what she just said, it's like the hallmark of a confident, whole woman. You're able to look at another woman and say, wow, I see the beauty in her. I see the light in her.
Right. And I used to look at other women and see what I didn't have. Right. Or to look at how I could one up. And then I think when I realized when I talk to other women, like, wow, I'm struggling with the same thing.
Yeah.
It may look different. We may call it something different, but there's still a struggle there. And it just got a lot easier to be able to say, oh yeah, me too. Hey girl, you look good. I see you. And it made me feel like I was complimenting myself at the same time. That actually doesn't take away from me. Her being fly, her being gorgeous, doesn't take away from my fly or my gorgeous.
So you came here from California. Tell me about that.
So I originally from California, born in Sacramento, raised in San Diego. And I loved San Diego. I loved the energy and I loved how cool it was. And it was my home. And it was so easy for me out there. I mean, I worked hard, but it was very easy. And I knew that I wasn't going to reach my full potential where I was.
Right.
And I could have went to LA, but LA was 2 hours away, it was too close. And I really felt like I needed to struggle. I needed to figure some things out. And right after college, I graduated from San Diego State. I picked up and left. I didn't have a job. I was telling people I was going for school because it sounded good, it sounded better than I'm going to go figure my shit out,
Right.
And I left. My mother's only child, so her heart went across the country. And I would say it's the bravest thing that I've ever done. And the best thing I've ever done. I feel like I was always supposed to be here.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? Whether it be the women who looked like me from having natural hair to how fast-paced everything was. And the culture was so different. And I walked around so openly. Because if I didn't, I was very clear I was going to lose something. I was going to miss something. And, I came around the time as the Labor Day parade.
Oh,
which
girl.
was like, the hell is this? It's like culture shock. And it was so great to see all that pride. And it's funny, I didn't have an afro, my hair was twisted up. And I was like, you don't have an afro under here. I want to be me so bad.
Right.
And I feel like New York makes a space for you to be you. Yeah.
Since you've been here, how many years
5
now?
years.
What would you say is so you've accomplished many things, which we'll talk about. We'll talk about abundance, we'll talk about love and war. But what do you think is the greatest thing you've achieved in these 5 years?
I would say, personally, knowing there's really nothing I can't do. It may get hard. I may have to figure it out, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna be fine. And the biggest thing is knowing I have support. I really make family everywhere I go.
Yeah.
So for me to be in New York for only 5 years, I feel like I have family forever is a big testament to there's nothing. And there's actually love waiting for me wherever I go.
Yeah. I think it's indicative of how loving you are. Because life attracts like. And you're just this big ball of love and joy. And so it's no wonder to me that everywhere you are, family is created, love is created, joy is created, outrageousness is created. So that's one of the things that's special about you. And it's one of the things that I noticed you create in your dance class, Abundance. Tell everyone about Abundance.
So Abundance with Kyo. So I was in a program called Momentum Education, and we talked about abundance and scarcity. And it didn't hit me how much I've been living in scarcity and how scarcity looks different. And I had to believe there wasn't enough. That I always had to do all this work in order to be considered, in order to be loved, in order to be worthy. And I knew abundance was really going to save my life. Because instead of me looking outward, I really had everything like already here. And I didn't have to give with a limit, you know. And I didn't hear me that dance was in abundance. Right? I was like, oh shit. And this is perfect. And I love it because it shows how abundance is always moving. It's fluid. It doesn't dry up, you know.
Right.
And I decided that I get to give that abundance to someone else.
So what are some of the things that you do in your, like, what are some of the things you cover in your dance class?
So, so one of the things I do is I really talk about liberation of how, like, if you want, like, you know, we do twerking in class.
Yes.
And I said, listen, twerking doesn't really start with your body, it starts with your head. It starts with what are you willing to release? Are you willing to release this idea of what we're not supposed to do with our bodies and let it go freely? Like, these bodies are ours. And we really get to do what we want. We don't only have to twerk our booty, we can twerk our hearts, we can twerk our mindset, we can twerk our conversations. It's this idea of shaking some things up. Listen, you can take this twerk home, you can take it, you know, to the club, you can take it with your partner.
Take it to YouTube,
you can take it to Instagram, you can take it anywhere you want. It's yours. And it's a celebration.
Yeah.
There's so many things out there telling us what we're supposed to do with our bodies and what a real woman does and how a woman covers up, or a woman is supposed to do this. So I really am giving people permission for them to be themselves.
Yeah. So liberation, expression,
ownership, twerkership,
yeah.
You know. Like,
how is twerking empowering and not demeaning? I mean,
to me, it's empowering because I know I started in praise dance.
Yeah.
And I used to have these out of body, like, really interpretive movements and feelings, and this idea of how, but if I leave and I twerk, am I not holy anymore? Am I still worthy of God, like, seeing me? And I think that for me it's empowering because I'm very clear that I am holy. And there's no, in the book of Acts, it doesn't say thou shalt not twerk, so I'm comfortable. And they folks, it may not fit into a lifestyle of people,
or they just can't do it,
or they can't do it, and you should come to class. Sometimes we equate twerking to ratchet, or we equate twerking to, like, last resort, you know, and that's all we have, or disrespect, or not have respect for yourself.
Yeah, women are very multidimensional.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that people try to create these dichotomies or these contrasts, like you're either one thing or the other, but we are like, we're everything.
Yeah, and I remember it's such a driving force, being in church and being told, you know, hey, you can't do this, hey, if you do that, then you're not going to be, you can't get love, you can't get
you're not worthy.
You're not worthy. And I think that's such a driving force for me to say, do it anyway.
Yeah.
And watch God show up.
Where do you see abundance in 5 years?
I see abundance being bi-coastal. In 5 years, I see abundance being in schools.
Yeah.
In less than 5 years. And I see us putting on semi-annual productions. Really, really huge performance, poetry, dance, everything.
So I know not long after you came to New York, you produced your own show, Love and War. So tell me about that, because I know you have a current, you're running it again right now. So
it's funny, Love and War, it goes back to what we were saying. Love and War was me being okay with the fact that there are some parts of me that may not always be loving or may not always be good, or whatever that looks like. There are things that I'm struggling with. And, you know, I take things personal. So sometimes I struggle with when it's okay to, like, be okay and trust that everything's going to be good, and when is it okay to speak up and say, hey, what's really going on? It's one of the things I struggle with. And I decided that I wanted to get that out because I'm realizing there's more and more people who are struggling with the same thing. And now that I know what I know, it would be thievery for me not to share it. Right? And so the show, it has dance, it has poetry, it has music, and it has tears and a lot of vulnerability on stage. When I was writing it, I was like, yo, is this too much? Yes, good, put it in.
Yeah. Man, I remember, I think when I saw it last October, I was just in awe of, because I think it covers every aspect of womanhood, all of what's beautiful about womanhood and all of what's painful, the things that we talk about, the abortions that we keep secret.
Right.
the times where we've felt used, the times we've been abandoned, our fathers who didn't love us enough or weren't around, and the things that kind of drive the decisions we make as women, and the results and the consequences of those things. My favorite line from your show is, "What if broken lets the light in?" What if broken lets light out? And so I think it's an amazing show. Where I know that you said you want to see it all over the states. You want to take it from state to state?
Yes.
So tell me more about that.
So I am in the works of getting it in California. And what I really want to do is I really want the city to be represented everywhere we go. So I want to get poets from that city and dancers from that city and have a conversation like, what's happening in your city and how can we make it relevant for this show? Because everybody's love and war looks different. So I want to make sure that everyone is represented. And I'm really excited. We should be in California in the fall. Well, we'll be in California in the fall.
Okay.
Yeah.
When will we see it on Broadway?
In 2 years.
2 years. Okay, y'all heard that. 2 years. Let me go on Broadway. Don't ask me to edit that out. In what ways have you grown personally through the process of directing, choreographing, and producing Love and War?
I think it's really validated and supported that my story matters and that it gets to be mine and it gets to be given away at the same time. And I think it also goes back to possibility. I think the more and more I do and the more and more I accomplish, the more I put it in a file cabinet. So anytime I need reminding of like what I'm capable of, or when I forget, or when the war gets louder than love, I really get to like pull it out and be like, oh yeah, Kim, but you did this. So this is what you can do. Or not, if it's not for me, for my friends, all right, listen, this is what you can do. Because I'm a reflection of you. If I can do it, you can do it too.
Yeah.
And so that's been really, really big. And also just rewriting my relationship with men, I would say. I have a line in my show that says, I know how to love a child, but I don't know how to love a man. And I think I'm learning more and more of debunking that, because there's a lot of evidence that I do know how to love a man.
Yeah.
And being okay with rewriting the story.
Yeah. That's beautiful, because we have all of these stories about who we are, what we believe, what's right, how we interact with others. It's a beautiful reminder that you actually do hold the pen, and you have the creativity and the imagination and the powers of manifestation to create a new story.
Yeah. Writing our stories first is really powerful to know what story you've been telling us. Because sometimes it's so innate that we don't even take the time to write it out and be like, all right.
I know a lot of the things that we believe come all the way back to our childhoods. What are some truths that you want to tell young Keo? If you could, if you could get in a time machine and say, Keo, listen, that's a lie. What would you tell her?
That you're beautiful. Your father loves you. And everything that happens isn't because of you. People are going to come and go. And that's fine. Especially being an only child, I wanted to hold everyone because, I wanted a brother and sister so bad. So I remember every time somebody would leave, it was always my fault. I was always back to being an only child, only by myself. So that's a big one too. And trust yourself. Trust yourself. Yeah.
What's something you haven't done yet that you see yourself doing in the next 5 years?
Honestly?
Yeah. No, lie.
Being a mom. Being a mom. I'm going to be an amazing mother.
Right.
And very clear who my mother is. And I'm excited that I get to be that. I'm excited that my mother gets to be a grandmother. I'm excited that I get to put all this love into a child and then watch them take over. Yeah, I don't know. That's my biggest thing right now. It's been on my heart about being a mother.
Being a mom?
Yeah.
Be a single mom?
I got I'm saying, you're really I can make you a mom.
We can make you a mom. Exactly.
No, and my mother did an amazing job.
I'm sure she did. I know she did. For living proof.
Come on. And I get to write doing a different story. So
Yeah.
married, kids, the whole shebang, the whole partnership.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. I see you pregnant and still teaching.
Listen, I've been like up, down.
I see you with a baby strap across. Like, come on,
Listen.
come on.
I'm like, listen, walk into a dance room, I'll be back.
So at this point of the interview, I leave the room and I leave Kiyomi alone with the camera so that she could share her forwarding message with the world.
So this is Keo, and I want you to know that you are perfect. And there are so many things out there, and sometimes us too, saying different. But there's really, really nothing that you cannot do. And you are the driving force of possibility. Divine, beautiful, and worth loving. And anytime you forget, take a deep breath in and out, because that is proof that you are perfect and you are willing. And there's a lot of things in store for you. Yeah. And there's always room for more. Always, always, always. Believe in the abundance. Trust that there is more than enough for you. Trust yourself. Forgive and give away.